Wow, incredible video out of New Orleans today, 1 week after the unexpected collapse of the Hard Rock Hotel that killed 3 people. Crews set off thundering explosions to topple the 2 unstable cranes. One of those cranes appeared to be left dangling atop the ruined building, while the other crashed to the street below. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim Pham. The 2 cranes were so badly damaged when the hotel's upper floors pancaked on top of each other. Crews were able to remove the body of 1 worker from the building, but the bodies of the other 2 are still inside because of the dangerous conditions. The cause of the building's collapse remains unknown. Lawsuits are already being filed on behalf of some of the more than 20 people injured against the project's owners and contractors. Back here in the inland northwest, things are looking a bit more like Seattle weather than Spokane weather. We got a break from the rain this morning, but those showers return shortly after, and they'll stick around for the beginning of the week. Meteorologist Michelle Boss has the details on when and where we'll see some rain and maybe snow.
And fortunately, that snow is going to stay in the mountains just like it did yesterday, short of a few wet snowflakes in Pullman yesterday afternoon. Rain totals a little bit less impressive than what we saw yesterday, but the rain didn't get started till about a couple of hours ago. Right now, Spokane has picked up an additional 0.06 of an inch after 1/3 of an inch yesterday. Similar amounts in Coeur d'Alene, Pullman, Moses Lake, and Wenatchee, and it looks like we're going to be dealing with some wet weather right into the start of the week. Satellite and radar showing that rain moving through eastern Washington right now. Snow levels above 4,000 feet. So again, those higher elevations are seeing some continued accumulations of some snow, especially across Lookout Pass. They're looking to pick up another 2 to 5 inches across the central Panhandle Mountains, and that winter weather advisory goes until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Temperatures, of course, are cooler than average. We did make it into the middle 40s earlier this afternoon when we had a few sun breaks, but with the rain, back down at 39 degrees, lower 40s in Deer Park and Coeur d'Alene. A little bit warmer near 50 in Moses Lake and Lewiston. Here's what it looks like the next 12 hours. If you're going to be out and about this evening, prepare for some soggy weather. Keep the umbrella handy, but we should get a break from the rain overnight and early tomorrow morning, and then rain will be back tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Another cool day, highs only in the upper 40s. Tuesday looking windy and mild, temperatures near 60, and sunshine should return by Wednesday.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Well, do you notice anything suspicious about this video? A woman over on the west side noticed right away when someone stole the 5 emblem off the back of her car. But it took her several more days to realize that someone had actually swapped out her license plate for a stolen one. She and police say it's important to get to know your license plates, take pictures of your plates, and get tamper-proof screws to make sure this doesn't happen to you. Spokane Valley is in the process of transforming the Appleway Trail. It's a project we've reported on for more than a decade. Now we're learning there could be plans to bring even more changes to the area once construction is complete. KREM 2's Brandon Jones explains what those changes may be and how it could impact the city.
Well, the sign says it was established in 2015, but this former railroad has been in the works for much longer than that, and soon there could be businesses all up and down this 5-mile trail, making a complete transformation. Spokane Valley was awarded a grant of $25,000 for a study of economic development on the Appleway Trail project that runs through the city.
What we can do to attract businesses to this area, kind of like how the Kendall Yards area has seemed to do for the Centennial Trail.
The project began in 2008, and construction to finish the final portion is expected to be completed by the summer of 2020. This sets the city up for what could be tremendous growth, and adding restaurants and other businesses along the trail would take the project to new heights.
And we're really excited for not just the residents of this city, but to tourists and other people around the Spokane area to use this 5-mile path that connects all the way to Liberty Lake.
So far, the trail has a flurry of different benches and drinking fountains scattered along the path for people to rest while making their way down the trail. A few restroom areas are available to use as well. The most recent funds come from the Washington State Community Economic Revitalization Board, and Spokane County was one of 8 counties in Washington State to receive the award. The abandoned railroad has also had flashing pedestrian lights installed for busy areas that need to be crossed. In the valley, Brandon Jones, KREM 2 News.
Well, Scraps needs your help feeding animals at the shelter. Employees posted on Facebook asking for donations. They say the shelter is currently housing or fostering 400 cats, almost 800 kittens, 130 dogs, and almost 40 puppies. And that's a lot of mouths to feed. You can drop by any cash or food donations at the shelter, and their address is posted there on your screen. On to sports now. The Seahawks game against the Ravens was close most of the way, but one drive really sealed the deal, and the Ravens won 23-13. Karthik Venkatraman joins us in the studio to break down the game's biggest moments. Karthik.
Yeah, Tim, the drive that ended it came in the fourth quarter. The Ravens started the drive at their own 10-yard line, but then they held the ball for over 9 minutes, and it was all because of Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. There were two absolute backbreakers in this drive. Here's the one that I felt just was the momentum killer. Seahawks had the Ravens in a 3rd and long, but Jackson gets loose, and that freak athleticism of his, he makes a huge play, gets the Ravens a huge first down, and a couple plays later, another elusive run, making guys miss in the wet, rainy weather. This drive ended up in a Ravens field goal. That'd get them up by 10 points. They'd score another defensive touchdown to make it 30-13 at the time. The final score 30-16. The Seahawks had a pretty good offensive first half. We'll show you some of that here in a minute, but the second half possessions didn't provide fruitful. It was 13-100 or 13-13 at halftime. Sorry, punt, missed field goal, punt, fumble that was turned to a touchdown for the Ravens, and then a garbage time field goal for the Seahawks with 1:49 left in the game. Were the second half possessions. The Seahawks had just 66 yards in the second half before that field goal that I just mentioned. So just not overall a good second half. The good moments for the Seahawks came in the first half. It seemed like every week now we're getting an absurd throw and catch from Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett, and this had social media talking. Wilson just lofted it up, and Lockett was there later in the first half. Well, Wilson just lofts it up to Lockett again, and those were the two throws and catches that just reminded everyone of how special that Wilson to Lockett combo really is. Not trying to pour it on to you Seahawks fans, but one more bad moment here. Russell Wilson threw his first interception of the season today, and unfortunately for him, it went for a pick six. The Ravens had 14 points off of turnovers today, and well, the Seahawks lost by 14 points. A tough loss today, but it was against a good team in the Ravens. The Seahawks are on the road next week as they take on the Atlanta Falcons. That should be a win. The game time for that is Sunday at 10 a.m., Tim.
All right, Karthik, thanks so much. Well, several U.S. diplomats have testified about President Trump's dealings in Ukraine. 2 more are expected to testify in the House this week. Tonight, we hear from the Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, on why the president's request is not a quid pro quo. And in the Middle East, Kurdish troops pulled out of a Syrian border town today as part of the U.S. brokered ceasefire. When we come back, we'll tell you where U.S. troops are headed instead of back home.